The thing that I love, I mean, we've watched bits of the band on YouTube and things like that, and it is, you can see that everybody's playing for each other. It's a band that's working together, and that can only come from sort of experience of being together a long time. Do you find that there are lots of different influences from within the band as to the type of music that gets played?
Yeah, well, that's a great question, and yes, is absolutely, and that's why, as you've picked up, I'm not a Jules Holland. This isn't Jules Holland. The sound that I make, and I will get compared to him, obviously, and I'm very honoured to be compared to Jules Holland. He's a great ambassador for the music he does, but the music he does is a bit more rootsy than mine. Whereas mine does cover so many different genres, because within the band I've got players who love everything from Whitesnake to Motorhead. I've got a bass player who gets off on Whitesnake and Motorhead 1 minute, and the next minute, seriously, he's rocking out to Barbra Streisand, you know. And having that sort of breadth of influence, I've got one of the greatest trumpet players in this country, a guy called Paul Newton. Sorry, the bass player, I should say, is Neil Fairclough. And the trumpet player, Paul Newton, he is one of the most booked trumpet players in the country. Whenever Simon Cowell wants to do his big band week on the X Factor, Paul's always playing lead trumpet on that. But Paul runs his own band, and he sings as well, and they've got such a love of all the different styles, and that inspires me to keep writing all the different styles of music that I love to write, because I may not have such a breadth of Motorhead to Barbra Streisand. I can't admit to liking that, but you know, I come from an Elvis Presley loving background, a Jerry Lee Lewis, a Little Richard, but I also was brought up home by my Italian parents who love the sort of lovely Latin melody of stuff, and I was brought up on Mantovani albums and Engelbert Humperdinck and Tom Jones and Andy Williams. So, you know, as well as my love of Billy Joel, Elton John and Stevie Wonder and Delbert McClinton, I've got this other side of me that gets off on this sort of more lovely romantic thing, and all these styles are prevalent, I hope, in my music, which is why I'm different even to Michael Bublé, you know.
Yeah, if you listen to the album, which we have done, and thank you so much for sending those copies over. We're going to do a little bit of a competition and see if we can give the signed copies away. If you listen to that album, there is such a range of music on there. You can't pin it down to being big band, to being rock and roll, to being blues, to being soul. It just covers the whole spectrum, which I think is fabulous.
Well, I really appreciate that, Lee, very, very much. And I think that's probably why this album sort of has caught the imagination of a few people, because, I mean, somebody described it to me. They said, I said to them, you know, if this had been a major record release, that the record company would never have allowed me to put an album out like this, because you know what it's like in the commercial world.
Yeah.
They need to help the audience understand who you are. But I think I give more credit to the general public that you know, generally people don't just sit and listen to one style of music. They do love Pixie Lots, but they also love a little bit of James Brown, you know, and so therefore I'm thinking, why as a musician should I be just like, you know, told just really you've got to keep writing this style of song. I actually think the general public has much more discerning taste than that. And somebody described it. He said, "Yes, I know. If the record company had put this out, it wouldn't have been this album." He said, "But for me, what was fantastic about this album," he said, that it wasn't 13 songs. That was some albums you put on, and you basically by the 13th song, you feel like you've just listened to one song with 12 different with 12 silences in the middle of it. He said, With your album, I loved it because I actually didn't know what was going to come next. He said, what's he going to do now? He's done sort of James Brown. He's done a sort of lovely sort of acid jazz thing. What's that? Oh, he's doing a bit of rock and roll now. Oh, he's doing a bit of ballad, you know. Well, that to me was a great compliment, and I really appreciate you saying that, Lee.
That's all right. It is an excellent album, and anybody who wins it in the competition that we're going to do, is going to be very, very pleased. We've already had quite a few people out here sort of saying, "Who's that bloke you keep playing? Elio, what's his name?" And it's lovely to get that reaction whenever you play new music. I love it.
Well, I mean, that is extremely flattering, and I really appreciate what you guys are doing there at Heart FM for me, and that you just came and sought me out, because, as I say, major record labels would have made sure that you'd had my album, but for you over there to have come and found me is a great compliment, and I'm really so pleased to hear that your listeners are enjoying what I'm doing, and I don't intend to stand still either. I mean, hopefully my music does have a thread. Hopefully you'll be able to say that's Elio Pace, isn't it? Yeah. Yes, it is, because you can tell from the style, because I don't think I'm going to make an authentic roots rock and roll album or an authentic roots Motown style album. I just love all that music. I love all the from early rock and roll. I love from Louis Jordan, even back, Perry Como. Love it, but and I just hope to continue to say what I want to say through all the beautiful styles of music that are available to all of us.
Just one more question, Ellie, and then we'll let you get on with the rest of your day. And that is, any plans for a tour or anything?
Well, when you say tour, I expect you mean in Spain. I would love nothing more than to bring my band over to Europe in general. I have had I've had a few offers, maybe 5 or 6, 7 offers already, to come and bring the band to certain festivals in Europe, Holland, Denmark, Germany, Italy. They've asked if it's possible. So we're at the moment looking at trying to piece together something that would make it obviously financially viable for everybody. And I would love to come to Spain. I've only ever played professionally in Spain once, and that was in Marbella. And I didn't want to leave. I actually tried to lose my passport, but unfortunately, it was so gorgeous. It's so beautiful where you are, and I would love to try and do it. I am actually touring with my band in Britain, starting a week on Tuesday. We're doing 11 dates around the country. Then I'll have 2 weeks off, and then I start the Terry Wogan show. So I don't know if any of you listeners or you, Lee, want to jump over on a plane and come and see me play. That unfortunately may be the only chance you may get for a few months at the moment, but I'm working on it.
That's quite a good tour, isn't it? I mean, you're doing Gwent, Wolverhampton, Wiltshire, Surrey, Milton Keynes, right the way around, Hampshire,
Cumbria, Manchester, Spalding, Swindon, all over the place. But originally this tour was going to be like a 4-week tour, Lee. But in the middle of last year, that's when I got the call, would I like to do this new Terry Wogan show? And that starts on Valentine's Day. So I actually had to go back to a lot of the theatres and say to them, I'm so sorry, I know we've sort of, confirmed this date, but is there any chance we can move everything back a couple of weeks? And some of them could, some of them couldn't. And so in the end it turned out to be just a little 2-week, 11-day tour. But I'm really, really excited about doing this tour. It's going to be, this is my first venture out with my band doing all my own material. Because going back to what we spoke about earlier, I have spent the last 20 years always songwriting, always recording, always trying to get my stuff heard. But to pay the bills, I've had to go on the road and musically direct. I played in Shakin' Stevens' band for 2 years. I played in Susie Quattro's band for 2 years. So this now, hopefully 2010, may be a year where I can not play in anyone else's band but my own.
True. Elio, sadly we've got to end this interview because it's been great chatting with you.
Lovely talking to you.
Thank you so much for your time. All the best with the Terry Wogan show. We'll be watching to see you. I'm going to keep an eye out for you.
Do you know what? You say watching because I know it's a radio show, and you can be able, and this is live on a Sunday morning. So this will come live at 11 o'clock British time, Sunday mornings. But I found out 2 days ago that they're also going to try and experiment with a new hybrid radio stroke television show. So I found out 2 days ago that this will also be available to watch on the BBC iPlayer that Sunday afternoon.
Fantastic.
So it's not going to be streaming live, but it will be available on the BBC iPlayer to watch as a television programme as well.
Great stuff. Okay,
So
well,
you can see, you'll be able to see how handsome and deadly sexy I am. It's been great talking to you, Lee. Thank you so much, and I wish you much success with your radio station. And I want to say hello to everybody listening. Happy New Year to everybody, and thank you for all of your support, all of you at Heart FM, and thank you for listening to my music, and I really hope that you continue to enjoy what I do.
now, if anybody wants to get hold of an album, as I'm sure they will, Elio, is there any website or anything like that they can get onto?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Thank you for this. Yes, there's my website, and it is www.eliopace.com or eliopace.com. Let me spell it for you. It's ELIOPACE.com. And on there, you can order CDs and stuff, and it's all on there.
All right, that's great. Thank you so much, Elio. Take care. All the best for Terry Wogan's show and everything else you do in the future.
Thanks very much, Lee.
Cheers, mate. Bye now.